for the real party.
That was mostly because of an internal fight in your party has always been pretty raucous, for lack of a better. I mean, you had the New York City people versus the state people. I mean.
Yeah, you know, and they're all nice people. I love them all. I mean, even the Fulani people, there's a spot in my heart for them. But it is a lust for power in a way, and money. And like I said, when you've got much at stake here, I'm not saying it's corruption in a criminal sort of sense, but I think it does create a perversion of the notion of an independent party or independent voters. And it's happened in the Liberal Party. It's happened in the Conservative Party. I mean, obviously, we know what went on there. And it's happened ever since this system was set up. So whether you should eliminate fusion voting or reform it in New York State is certainly an open question, but I would say at least reform.
What do you think, Mayor? I mean, really, tell me what the Independence Party stands for. Because I don't think most people know. I mean, at one point, the party had sort of a platform. They had INR, right? They had initiative and referendum. Sure. They stand for nonpartisan voting and giving people a place where it's not the major parties, and establishing a viable third-party option.
Well, it does stand for those things. I think the idea is that there are some people who are interested in public policy and government who just don't find themselves comfortable associated with one party or the other. People like to look at issues and candidates on their own merits. So those people who want to be involved might find a vehicle for that, or did, I think, in the Independence Party. Then all of a sudden, maybe that changes over the years and other agendas come into play and the major parties sort of co-opt it. So the history of third parties in this country has been that they come into being for a reason, and usually a good reason, and then they get co-opted by the major parties. And I think New York's system with the Wilson-Pekulas and the fusion voting and so on, it just leads to the inevitable conclusion that these parties will be co-opted. That's what happened with the other ones, and probably has happened here.
Now, I know that you are pretty far removed from what's going on in New York City, where the Manhattan DA is looking into the party. Also now, Staten Island DA Dan Donovan is looking into the party, which is why he's decided that he's not going to look for the line in his Attorney General run. However, with all of this sort of law enforcement involvement, do you think that the future of the party is pretty cloudy? Do you think the party is going to survive, A? And B, will Andrew Cuomo be in trouble because of this? I mean, if the party, Frank McKay or some other leadership has a real problem here?
Sure, but well, I think there's obviously some things that have gone on that are attracting attention, obviously downstate and particularly in the Capitol. But, you know, most people, to most people, it's another line on the ballot. And I don't think people focus in on those type of things unless some of the opponents of these candidates do. But you've got a situation where you've got some Democrats cross-endorsed and some Republicans cross-endorsed. So going out and trying to make the party toxic doesn't necessarily, you know, work into either party's advantage at the moment. So will it hurt Andrew Cuomo? I doubt it. I'll be interested to see if he takes the working families line. You know, they have a placeholder. And that's incidentally another thing that should be changed. This idea of nominating lawyers to be placeholders in these minor parties
well, you guys
and then flipping them out at the end of September is wrong.
You guys did
exactly, and I don't think it's right.
You did it for the Attorney General's race, right?
It was done.
Right.
In the Attorney General's race. Right, and they flipped them out either to put someone else in or to, you know, somebody gets a judicial nomination, you know, maybe they get a judgeship out of it, maybe they don't, I don't know. But the fact is that shouldn't be going on. And I would be disappointed at any candidate who took the nomination of any party through that kind of procedure, because I don't think it's right.
Well, I think in certain parlance we call that hedging your bets, right? I mean, you also, and before I let you go, you ran...
Well, yes, but you...
Go ahead.
Sure. Well, you had said earlier, though, I mean, either it's a party or it isn't. If you're going to just hedge your bets by putting placeholders in, is it really a party? Now, you know, maybe I look at things differently because in the North Country we're just simple country folk doing the Lord's work or whatever up here. But all of these machinations that go on, this sort of big city politics, this rough and tumble type of thing where you answer the phone and you think it's Mel Gibson on there, the way they're talking sometimes and the language they use. I don't particularly aspire to that. That's not the kind of politics that really prevails up here. And maybe I'm looking at it in a Pollyannish sense, and I'm not in the world that everybody else is. But I think there's too much of the wheeling and dealing, and I think people need to get back to basics, and that involves politics at the local level.
Well, you actually are hardly not a savvy guy. I mean, you ran statewide against Hillary Clinton in 2000, if I
Sure.
remember correctly. Will you run again?
Against Hillary?
Statewide, not again. Unless
no,
she
I
runs for
wouldn't do that
president.
again.
I don't know. I don't think so.
No, I don't see that happening. You know, you do that kind of thing once in your life. It's like jumping out of an airplane or something. I mean, it may be a good memory you have and something you tell people about later, but no, I have no aspirations to do that. I enjoy what I'm doing. The mayor of Watertown is a challenging job, and I love doing it.
Well, Mayor Graham, I want to thank you very much for joining us this evening. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks, Liz.